You wish you were born 50 years ago, huh? Give me 1 second. Now, here's something I can give you that people who usually talk to you about this can't give you. I was there 50 years ago. I was a young man, younger than you for some of it. So when you tell me you wish you'd been born back then, you're not wishing for a story you read. You're wishing for a place I actually lived in. I can tell you what the rooms smell like. Cigarettes and wet wool and somebody's pot roast 2 doors down. And I'll be straight with you, because if I'm not, nothing else I say tonight is going to land. Some of it was good in the way you think it was. You could vanish. Nobody could reach you. You walked out the door and for a few hours you were just gone. And the world had to wait on you. And you had to wait on it. A phone call cost real money, so a phone call meant something. You wanted to hear a song, you had to be sitting right there when it came on. You missed it, then you missed it. You carried that little ache around till the next time it played. And the ache is part of why the song mattered. We waited for everything back then. Waiting does something to a person. It builds a kind of muscle. I'm honestly not sure we ever replaced it with anything. So you're not crazy. You feel like something's gone. And something is gone. I won't sit here and tell you that it's all in your head, because it isn't. And you'd know if I was lying. And then I'd lost you for the whole rest of the ride. But here's the part you can't see from where you're sitting. And I can only see it because I got old. When I was young, in the world you're homesick for, the one you'd trade your whole life to be dropped into, we were doing the exact same thing you're doing right now. We were looking backward too. There was an old man where I worked, nights, same as me, used to pour me coffee out of a beat-up steel thermos. And he'd tell me the world had already gone soft, that the real years were before the war. The people used to mean it back then, used to work with their hands, used to sit on a porch in the evening and actually know the name of the man across the street. All of that was finished, he'd say, and I'd had the bad luck to be born too late to get any of it. He believed that. He wasn't pulling my leg. He felt it in his chest, the same exact way you're feeling it tonight, in the back of my car. Like a fact, like a true thing somebody did to him. The decade you'd give anything to be born into. The people in it were sitting right where you're sitting, looking back over their shoulders at some earlier time, dead certain they'd shown up a little too late for the good part. And the people they envied did the same thing. It goes back like that as far as you can see it. It's a chain, and every single link is somebody convinced the warm part already happened and they just barely missed it. Now sit with what that means for a second, because this is the whole thing. If everybody in every decade feels late, then the warm thing was never something a decade was handing out. It can't have been. Nobody ever got it just by being born at the lucky time. Because nobody ever felt like they got born at the lucky time. Not him, not me, not the porch people he was crying over either. So where was it, then? The realness. The thing you're actually grieving back there. And it was never the decade. It was the feeling. Being unwatched, being present somewhere, mattering, specifically to a handful of people who actually knew your face and would have noticed if you didn't show up. I'll tell you where it was. It got made by hand, every single time, by particular people who, in a world that was also loud, also cold, also lonely in its own way, decided to build one warm room and keep the light on in it. That old man with the thermos, he thought he'd missed the good world by 30 years. But he made me coffee every night for 2 winters, and he asked about my mother by name. He was building the real thing with his own 2 hands the entire time he was complaining it was gone. He died never knowing that's what he'd been doing. He thought he was just a tired man with a thermos. That's the thing nobody will say to you. You don't get born into the good world. Nobody does. There has never been one single human being who got handed it at the start. The people who made those years you love feel like something. They built little warm pockets by hand against the cold of their own time. And most of them went to their grave thinking they'd been born too late. Same as you. Now I'm going to turn the high beams on for you, because this next part is the part that should put something electric in your chest. And I want you to feel it before your street comes up. It is rarer now. You're right about that. And I'll give it to you straight, with no sugar on it. There's less of the real thing going around than there was when I was your age. And that's true. But you got the meaning of it exactly upside down. Less of it does not mean you came too late. It means you're needed. A man who builds a warm room in a world this loud, this watched, this fast. He's doing something they did not even have to do back then. Because back then, it was laying around loose. You could trip over it. You'd have to make it now. On purpose, by hand, against the grain of the whole time you live in. And a thing a man makes on purpose, against the grain, in a time that does not hand it out for free, that is not worth less than what we had. That is worth more. You already know scarce things are worth more. You feel it about everything else. Feel it about this. You weren't born too late for the real world. You were born into the exact year that's short on people willing to build it. That is not tragedy. That's a job opening. And it's got your name on it. Because you're the one who noticed it was missing. Most people don't even notice. They never felt the ache at all. But you felt it. That ache you've been carrying around like a curse. That's not proof you're late. That's the qualification. That's the thing that means you're one of the ones who can build it. I want you to catch this last part before we get to your road. Right now, this, two people in the dark, in a car, talking like it actually means something. Nobody's filming it. Nobody's going to scroll past it tomorrow. No little hearts on it. It just happened between us. And in about a minute, it's over, and there is no copy of it anywhere. That, what you've been feeling back there for the last 10 minutes, that is the precise thing you told me you were born 50 years too late for. It's been happening to you this entire ride. You were so busy wishing you were somewhere else in time that you nearly rode all the way home through the exact thing and never noticed it was in the car with you. You're not too late. You're right on time. The time's just been sitting there in the dark, waiting on you. For you to start building it. Now go build the warm room. Somebody down the line is going to need the coffee. And that's pretty much all I have to say about that.